Welcome to this session. I'm so excited that you are here and you are listening to me. You're joining in. You can, chat your name. You can type your name on the comment section. Let us know where you are connecting from. It's going to be a phenomenal time this in this session. Welcome once again. Now, who am I and why should you listen to me? My name is Calvin Karim Antonza, and I'm a digital growth strategist dedicated to helping professionals to navigate the complexity of the online world. Also, as a founder of Kagitals Technologies Limited, an agency specializing in digital marketing, website and graphic design, branding, video production, and also social media management, we provide businesses and individuals solutions to enhance and increase their income, impact, and influence online. I am certified in digital marketing by various industries like LinkedIn, HubSpot, and also Meta, as well as Google. So what do we do at Kagitals? This is a brief introduction about me and what we do at our agency. We help busy founders to grow their audience on social media, and then we also build websites that converts visitors into paying customers. We run ads that brings in leads for businesses. Finally, we design visuals that makes your brand unforgettable. So if you want to learn more about our agency and what we do, you can go over to www.kagitals.com. You're learning about or walking you through who are you really. You're learning about your personal identity as the foundation that can shape the narrative about who you are. I'll walk you through your values is always equal to your brand voice, how you can translate your values from just being your values to your brand voice, translating core values into a brand that speaks. The next thing you will learn about is from person to brand. This is the bridge between your personal story and also your business identity. The next you learn about building your online presence, very important. I'll show you practical steps to show up authentically online. The next you'll be learning about, we'll go on to a live exercise if the time permits us. So now let me ask a question to those of us on this session. If your brand were a person, how would you describe them? So think about it. The personality, the voice, the values, how you dress, what they stand for. So what are you going to, describe your brand as? Is your brand adventurous and bold? Will you say your brand is calm and trustworthy? Or will you say your business or brand is fun and relatable? So I want to see the answers in the comment section. Tell me one thing you would describe your brand to be if you were asked this question. All right, so let's proceed. Now, some people will describe their brand as adventurous, right? Others will say that their brand is calm and trustworthy, and some people will say their brand is fun and relatable. Now, the thing here is that it doesn't matter, or there is no fixed way a brand should talk about what they represent. There is no fixed way, because every brand and every business is unique. Are we together? Every brand and every business is unique. Remember, I mentioned that your values or your personal values, the person that you are, will always translate to what your brand voice is. Now, the question you should be asking yourself is, before even thinking about how you can build your brand, or before thinking about how you can use your personal identity and values to shape a powerful business brand online, is who are you really? Because everything begins with you. Now, remember, your brand is not your logo. It is not the color you use for your business. It is you. as an individual, it is you as a person, right? So before you build a powerful brand, you have to know who you are. You need to know your story. You identify what your story is. You identify what your strength is and the things you believe in and what makes you different from others. Now, the mistake most people make is that, they think that their story needs to be an extraordinary story. They think it needs to be a story that will shake people when they listen to it, but it can be something as simple as you think. What matters is that the story is true, it is specific, and it is relatable, because a number of times when you go out there to talk about your brand, when you go out there to talk about your products or what you do, there will always be other people that do what you do. But what makes you unique is your story, the things that shaped you. For example, a person selling nutritious food, their story might be a health scare or a health issue in their family. Am I communicating? So for a business coach, for instance, their story may be, years they spent when they were broke, they were frustrated before they eventually figured out a system that began to work for them. For a graphic designer, their story might be the feeling of not being seen in a particular place, which led them to, create work that helps small businesses to stand out. So your story is what distinguishes you from other people. It doesn't have to be a dramatic one. So I want you to ask yourself, what will differentiate you from another person that offers the same services? You have to be able to craft that ideal story. Am I communicating? Because if you do not have a story, if your marketing activities is not coming from a particular point or from a particular reference, people will not be able to, they won't be able to know the reason why they are buying from you. They won't be able to, connect with you. I'll give another example. Imagine I sell rice and another person B, also sells rice. And then you always come to me to buy rice from me, prepared food, right? The question is, why is it that you're not buying that meal from the next person? Most likely is because, to an extent, you are emotionally connected to me, or because you like me. Now, your story is what creates that sense of emotion between you and another person. Your story is what creates that emotion. Now, the next thing that will help you identify who you are really, or who you really are, is your strengths. What do you do better than almost anyone? So when I talk about strength, I'm not talking about technical skills. I'm not talking about you knowing how to code, you knowing how to bake. It's deeper than that. For example, someone might be a photographer, but what makes their brand different is that, they have the ability to speak to the people they want to snap, and then, those people will now become calm, and then they will have, a kind of composure. The ability to make anxious people to feel calm and safe, that is their strength. That may be the reason why such people, or the people that want to take those photographs, will come to them when they want to take a photograph, and then they won't go to another person. So ask yourself, what do people always come to you for? What have you been told that you are usually good at? That is your strength. That is your unique advantage. What do you do effortlessly that other people seem hard to do? Are you following? So these are the clues to the real strengths that should be woven into your brand. Remember, I spoke about your story. Everybody has a story. Everybody has a reason why they are doing what they are doing. If you're in business, if you have a brand, for you to be able to communicate your message effectively to your target audience or to the people that you are selling to, your story has to be there, right? Then next, your strengths must also be there. What are you good at? Some people are good in communicating. When they speak, you will just want to hear them. So beyond, let's say that person is a baker. So because the person is good in baking, right, and then the person has effective communication strength, many people will be always reaching out to that person A. Let's call the person A, another person B, but that person doesn't know how to communicate effectively. Are we together? So the third thing you have to, identify that speaks about who you really are is your why. So beyond making money, why does your business exist? Beyond making money. So let's assume that there was no money at stake. Maybe you're not selling anything, but your business is there. Why are you running the business? You answering that question will enable you to identify who you really are. Because everybody is in business, almost everybody. That is the surface level or the surface reason why people are in business. They are in business to make money. That one is the surface level. But your why answers the deeper questions. It answers questions like the change you want to see in the world, the problem you want to solve, the people you want to help, and also the legacy you want to leave. For example, a fashion brand founder, their why might be, I want to help women who have been told they are too big or too short or too fat to feel beautiful in the clothes made for body like theirs. So do you see the reason why you need to identify your why? So for that person that is in the fashion brand now, even if they don't make sales, they will still have the motivation to remain in business, even if they are not really making money for an extended period of time, because they know the reason why they are in business. Another example is, for instance, a digital marketer. Their why might be, they grew up watching hardworking people in their communities to, building incredible solutions, but then they were not getting customers. For those of us joining now, we are looking at the topic, right? How to stand or how to use your values to stand out and build a profitable brand. How you can use your values to stand out, to build a profitable brand. Now, your values are equal to your brand voice. Some of us that have not started, effectively building anything yet, the first concept you should understand is that when you want to show up online or when you want to show up for your business, you don't need to separate yourself, like your values, from your business values. Because it is easier to give birth to a business and then the business carries a trait of you. Let me give you an example. For example, when two people marry, at the end of the day, they will give birth to a child, all things being equal, isn't it? Now, if you look at that child, in most cases, that child will look like either the father or the mother, or maybe the father's brother or father's sister. The child must also look like somebody within the family or within the relative. Do you get what am I saying here? You do not have to separate your personal values from your business or from your brand value. So what do you do? So once you understand who you are, you need to now understand how to translate it into how you communicate the messaging about your, about your business. Now let me teach you. Let me give you an example. So let's say, for instance, you have identified your value from this particular table I have here, and then you say your core value is honesty, isn't it? So honesty as a core value creates a brand voice that is direct and clear. Direct and clear. So when you make or when you say something, you do not hide any information. You convey the message directly to people. Do you get? So the audience or the people that are following you feel safe, and then they trust your brand because there is no hype, and then there is no hiding. Building your brand or building your business or standing out and building a profitable brand requires that you identify what your core values are. Because when you identify it, it now gives you the ability to write or post about your messaging effectively. It gives you the ability to communicate your messaging effectively. If innovation is your core value, for instance, it creates a brand voice that is bold and visionary. So the content style you use most times will align with leadership, right? It focuses on ideas, challenges, or conventional wisdom. So people, when they listen to you, they feel inspired and they are excited because your brand is always showing them something new. So there are certain businesses that are innovative businesses, right? So every now and then they are creating new things, they are innovating new things. So when people see their posts, most times their post or the messaging they communicate is about thought leadership. They are always bringing about new things. And the good thing is that, right, your brand may have varieties of value. Your brand has the ability to have, within 3 to 5 values. So you have to identify it. If you don't know what your brand value are, or if you don't know what your brand value is, you need to do some research and find out what exactly is it. And the good thing is that, let me ask you this question, or let me say this: would you be willing to lose a client over a particular value of yours? Because if you don't have values for your business, any kind of clients that come to you and then they want to do things that are not right, because you do not have values that are guiding you, you will not be able to be true to what you do. You will compromise your standards because you do not have values that are guiding you. So you keep to your values when things are convenient and when things are not convenient. Maybe, for instance, you want your values in your business is excellence, and you're a fashion designer here. The person, or you worked and maybe you have a staff, and then the staff didn't deliver well to your customer. He didn't sew the dress well. The staff didn't sew the dress well, and then your customer came and your customer wasn't pleased. Because you have excellence as a value, you are willing to sacrifice and possibly sew the dress again. But if you don't have excellence now as a value, whether the client is happy or whether the client is sad, you don't care. You just choose to do it just for the money. So that's why each and every one of us listening to me on the call, it's very important that you outline certain values for your brand and for your business. Now, this is now what will help you to eventually build a brand that is profitable, because you have something that is guiding you. You have something that is guiding, the actions you take in your brand. This session is designed to enable us build our businesses profitably online. That's why it's called the Digital Business Growth Series. And I'll tell you this: every information that I shared in this session is very important that we take action. We've spoken about consistency in the previous session, and that is one of the strategies that always works when you keep posting content online. Now, don't forget, people may not really like or click on the like button, but they are seeing what you are, that you are posting. A particular time, I went somewhere, and that was when I build website. Website design is one of the skills I offer. So I went somewhere, and a particular man saw me, and he started calling me, like, he was instead of him to call my name when I went to that place, he was calling me web designer. And that particular person has never liked any of my posts on Facebook. Do you understand what I'm saying? So every of the information that somebody is already laughing, interesting. Every of the thing that we, release in this training, find a way of taking just one thing at least and apply it. Because the results, I will always say that the results that you are seeking lies in the action that you are here to take. Now let's get back into section 3, how you can transform your personal story taking it from your personal life down to your brand. Now, the first step we have here is find the origin moment. What problem did you face that sparked your business idea? We're talking about the topic, how to use your values to stand out and build a personal brand. How do you take your lived experience and shape it into a story that your audience can hear and understand and feel and be moved by? See, when you do business with people, you are not just doing business to just get money. You are engaging human beings that have emotions. You are engaging people that are with people that are intelligent. So you want to find a way of tapping into their psychology or their psyche. You want to find a way of getting into their hearts, so that when they are listening to what you are saying, they will be convinced that you are good enough, to do business with them. Now I'm talking about people that are qualified to be your clients. In the last session we spoke about, people that are exactly your target audience. I'm not talking about people that are not your target audience, right? So when you are doing business with people, you don't want to just engage in the surface level conversation. You want to go deep and then tap into their emotions. Because one of the things that make people to, buy from you specifically is your ability to tap into their emotions. Are we together? So I'm talking about how you can, transform your personal story, into values for your business or for your brand. Now, you find the origin moment. What problem did you face that sparked your business idea? You do this because every brand story has an origin. So there was a point or a period where something happened that made you to make the decision to get into that business. So what made you to start this business? What was happening in your life before you became a fashion designer? So the more specific you get, the more powerful your story will be, because there will always be people that want to hear from you. I don't do fashion design, but if I do fashion design and I don't have a powerful story, and that person who has a powerful story will get much clients than I will do. The second step is that you will mind the emotion. What did you feel? What were your frustration? Right? What made you to be determined? Emotions are always memorable. So the second step is to go back into the origin and then check how you felt there. And the thing is that what's that feeling that made you to get into that business will enable you to effectively craft the values you need. It will enable you to craft the messaging that you need. And eventually from those messaging, you begin to connect with people that are your target audience. So when someone now reads your story and says, I can relate to what this person is saying. You get, when someone reads your story and is saying, I understand what this guy is saying, I understand what this lady is saying, before you realize, they reach out to you and say, because I can connect with this person, they want to purchase your product or purchase your service. Your story must not be perfect. For me, why did I get into website design, or why did I get into offering digital services? Shortly after before I finished NYSC, I got to know about copywriting, right? And normally when you are in an average Nigeria doesn't have, let's say, a job waiting for him or her when they graduate. An average Nigerian. Yeah, I know some people are fortunate enough to have that, isn't it? So I knew my fate, so I decided to get into learning copywriting. That was the first digital skill I learned. Then gradually I learned website design, right? And I learned graphic design along the way. What am I saying here? My story was that at the end of the day, I didn't want to finish NYSC and I had nothing, and I will have nothing to do. If I can take this exact story and beautify it a bit, say I'm creating a course on website design that I learned. This thing I just said, I can build on it, isn't it? And communicate this story to people that are in similar scenario with me now. When I communicate this message to them and then I have a product or a service I am rendering, when they read this story or when they listen to this story, I will get or tap into their emotions by doing so. And before they realize it, they will not know when they will reach out to me and say, I need this service, I need your product, I need your course. So when they hear me say, 5 years ago or 6 years ago, when I was about finishing NYSC, I didn't know exactly what to get into. I didn't have a exact job that was waiting for me. But I decided to leverage the few weeks I had to learn how to build websites. And as soon as I finished learning this skill, I began to get opportunities. Someone that is about finishing NYSC, when you listen to this story, you'll be like, this is the person I want to learn from because he can relate to my current situation. So do you understand how this works? So you can use your personal experience to build a profitable brand online. Some of us had childhood that was not fun. We have had many painful experiences. So I tell you, that experience that you have had in the past, you can use it as a means of tapping into people's emotion and making your brand profitable, because you are communicating the exact situation another person is going through now. So once you have identified the origin and then the emotion, so the story that you create, right, needs to be shaped into a structure that works for communication. That's what step 3 has to do. So you shape the narrative. What were you struggling with? For me, I didn't have any digital skill before I learned website design. I didn't have any digital skill before I learned how copywriting. Right? That was the struggle, that was the pain, that was the before. That was the situation I was in. Isn't it? So people will now read this story and they'll be like, okay, people will read this first part, which is the struggle, and they will now be like, wow, this is me. Then the next step in crafting a story is the turning points. The turning point I experienced. So this might be the realization, a decision, a mentor, or something that I did that brought me out of the first step. So what did I do? I engaged in learning a digital skill. Your own scenario may be a different one. So when people now see that, okay, Calvin took this step, he took this action, and he did something that transformed his life eventually. So when they see that I did something, then in their mind they'll be like, yes, this can be me. If I can do what Calvin did, then I can realize that there is a way out of my own situation. Remember, I told you that the experiences that you have had in the past, somebody is currently going through it. As a business owner or as a person who has a brand, the experience that you've had in the past, someone is going through it. So for you now, that was your past. You've been able to overcome that challenge or that experience. Isn't it? So the first step, you share that experience, and then you share what you did that made you to solve that problem. So when you communicate what you did to them, in their mind they'll be like, oh, there is a way out of this particular thing I'm facing. Then the third step is now the transformation. So this is where the story is now. The aftermath of of that struggle that you experience. That's why you see, when we are connecting the dots, it's very, very important. I mentioned something from the very beginning. I was like, someone that is a fashion designer, the reason why they are in fashion design is not just necessarily to make money. That's just the surface level. If you want to really make your brand profitable, you are not just selling clothes or materials. No. A person that a brand or his brand, a person who is a fashion designer, that his brand will be very profitable, should understand their why. And I give an example, and I was like, for a person, the person may be, I want women, the person's why may be, I want women who have been told they are too big or too short to feel beautiful in their clothes made for their bodies. That may be the person why. So because that's the person why, he can be able to shape a narrative and create a story, around that point. So whenever people now see his post or see her post on social media, they are communicating their values. They want to ensure that they make dresses that are very beautiful to when a person, wears the dress, irrespective of what the person's size is, what the person's height is. So when a person sees that messaging, the person can think, yes, that's me, that's what I want. Because it seems as though you are, coming forth to bring a solution to the person. And then the final step through which you can follow is that you will broadcast your story online. You share it on social media platforms. Remember, this is what we call the Digital Business Growth Series. So we are leveraging digital tools to communicate our story. And I mentioned that your story should be in 3 parts. The first part is, the struggle or the problem, right? The struggle. Then the next point is the turning point. And then the last point is the transformation. And I mentioned that the struggle is the point through which your story starts. This is the before, the problem, the pain, the situation that was not working for you. That struggle itself, people are experiencing it now, right? And then people read your struggle and then they'll be like, yes, that's me. I'm also going through that particular phase now. And then the next step, how you can, in which you can create a narrative, is by, identifying your turning point, the turning point of your life. So there was a struggle phase, and then the second phase is the turning point. So this turning point might be a realization, a decision, it may be a mentor you even met, it may be a lesson you learned. So now this turning point, it creates hope. People see this turning point and think that, yes, there is a way out of this struggle. Then the next step is the transformation. So this is where you are now. This is the after you have overcome, the struggle phase you went through. Are we together? So this transformation now, when people see your own transformation, they can be able to connect and say, yes, this is what I want. Because you've been able to transform your story. You've been able to transform your struggles to a product or a service that people will eventually buy from you. So beyond just selling that product or selling that service, the pain points people are coming to you with. Then in the fourth step, you broadcast your story online. So this is where now many people now feel that they don't want everything about their life to be out there. No one is saying that you should post everything about your life, but there is something about your life that other people need to see before they buy any of your products or buy any of your service. So even if people are not liking your story, they are not liking your posts, people are not sharing your posts, you are not bothered, because you are not posting to get likes. You are posting to build your digital credibility. And you know what we say here? You get to that point where when people write your name on Google, the information about what you do in your business pops out. And it gives you an advantage. So if they are looking for, maybe you apply for an opportunity and then they search for your name online, because your bio popped up on Google, it gives you a higher chance on getting that opportunity. So I want to encourage you to find your story, no matter how uncomfortable it may be. Identify it, document it with the process or with the steps I've outlined in this session, and gradually begin to put it out there. People will begin to connect with you. And most times, we apply for jobs, or maybe we apply for fundings, we apply for grants. Do you know that people that eventually get these higher opportunities, because they have a good digital footprint, it is easy for them to get selected for these opportunities because they have searched for them online and information about what they did popped up. You don't just post once on social media a month and then you just leave it. You don't just, if you're in the fashion design, I don't know, I keep using fashion design today. If you're in the fashion design business, don't just go online and be posting your dress. Just post your dress. No. Don't just post your products. Let there be a story that you will share from time to time. Sometimes I used to wonder why certain people, right? When you go to their WhatsApp status, they'll just load their WhatsApp status with their products. They can post like 30, if they are bakers, for instance, they can just post like 30 cakes. I mean, why would you just post 30 cakes on your WhatsApp status? It is called social media for a reason. Social media was not created for people to sell products. That was not the primary reason why it was created. It was created for us to connect with other people. So in the process of connecting with other people, you are now indirectly bringing your products or offering your products to them. So it's easier for you to sell that way compared to a person that is just posting cakes, or maybe those people that in the what do they call them now? People that plait hair. They're just posting the hairs of human hair, but then they are not communicating or sharing any story. It won't. People that do that struggle to make sales. Are we together? Remember, the topic again is how to use your values to stand out and build a profitable brand online. And we've talked through many of these steps in the previous sessions that we've held over the months. If this is the first time you are joining us for this session, I will advise that you go to the previous sessions and watch them. They are not long. They will be helpful because we are building on what we've done in the past. Now, how can you show up authentically online? It's very, very important. The first step or the first pillar is your visual identity. Your visual identity is the first thing people see before they read a word in your caption, before they even see your picture, your colors, your products. Your visual identity is your profile picture, your brand colors, and then your fonts, your signature, and then your styles. When people see your content or when they see your post online, that's comprised about your visual identity. Let me repeat, your visual identity is basically what represents you on the online space. So the colors you choose, the images you share, your visuals, all of this communicate something about your value and your personality before even a single word is read. So that's why when you're posting anything online, let it be very excellent. Let it be very excellent. You don't want to share something that is less excellent. You don't want to share something that is not quality. You want to share quality images. No matter what you are in, whether you are in career, whether you are in business, whether you are an academist, any content or anything you share online must be excellent, because that is the perception people will have about you. You are creating an identity in the minds of people. Now, the next thing that you have to figure out, when you are showing up online, is your content voice. So you have to write like you speak. So you use your actual opinions and also repeat your core message. So that whenever people see you physically, there won't be any difference in the way you communicate online. Are we getting it? So let them know, do not have a separate identity physically, and then in the online space you now have another identity, because your content voice also contributes to who you are as a brand. Your content voice, is part of the thing that will help you to build a profitable brand. Now, the next thing that will enable you to, build a profitable brand through showing up online is the community you build. So try to engage with other people's posts also. When people comment on your posts, you need to ensure that you respond to them. Don't just focus on your own content. I mean, it is social media for a reason. The word social is there for a reason. So engage with other people's posts. Try to build real and genuine relationship with other people, by responding to comments and also commenting on their posts. Now, this is because brands that grows in the long run are brands that show up in relationship. So don't just show up with content, show up by building relationships. Celebrate with people when they are in their birthdays, when people are not feeling fine, be there for them, isn't it? Because people connect with people that care. Fourthly, you have to be consistent. Use the same name across your social media platforms. Make sure that you post regularly. If you want to stay with 3 times a week, it is fine. Just make sure that you're consistent with it. If you are posting once a day or once a week, be consistent with it. But make sure you are consistent, because at the end of the day, when people, keep seeing that you are showing up about what you do, they have a way of having the understanding that you are serious with that thing. So let it be consistent. When you are consistent, people can easily trust you. And I keep saying this. Listen to me. Maybe what you are doing now may not be what you want to do with the rest of your life. Maybe what you are doing now may not be the thing you want to do with the rest of your life. But listen to me. What you are doing now have a way of contributing to who you will become tomorrow. Many years ago, I was learning how to code, like mobile app development and all those things, and I struggled to understand it as at that time. I don't do it now, but as at then, I did it. Now, what I can see in that phase of my life was that the consistency I placed in doing what I was doing then has rubbed off to other things I'm doing today. That's rubbed off in it. Maybe you want to be an academic person in the future, but you are working in a job now that you may not really necessarily like. See, if people can see your commitment in what you are doing now, it opens door for bigger opportunity for you tomorrow. I mentioned that you must not post everything about your life. That's not what I'm saying. But find a way of posting valuable things within what you are doing today, because it contributes to your future success. People will look at your past and they will be like, wow, this person had a phenomenal past. They will be like, this person was doing good or doing well in that job before. But because he was doing, or she was doing well in it, she has the credibility to do better in this other thing that she wants to pursue in the remaining part of their life, in the remaining part of her life. So find a way of adding value online, because at the end of the day, we live in a digital age now, and AI has come again. So you're intentionally crafting a narrative about yourself, so that when you apply for certain opportunities and they are, writing and then they are doing a background research about you, when they search for your name somewhere online or somewhere on the internet, what pops up are credible information. What pops up are the valuable things you have written before. And it then gives you a higher chance of getting that opportunity that you are looking for. Now, let's move to the next thing. Your posting, your positioning, sorry. So positioning is all about who you are or what you are known for, and you being unafraid to communicate that particular thing. So the biggest positioning mistake many people make is that they are trying to be for everyone. Everyone cannot be your audience. We spoke about something in the last Digital Business Good series, right? Everybody cannot be your audience. Your audience should be as specific as possible. So if you have not watched the last session, please go and watch it. We tackled the issue of identifying, who your audience is. So you being able to identify your audience will now enable you to create your story effectively in a way that will connect to the people, or connect to the people that will see your post online. And the final step is what we call the growth actions. So you can go ahead to collaborate with aligned brand. In other words, people that are doing similar things with what you do. So you can have a joint webinar with them. You can, have a podcast with them. You can go live online, isn't it? And keep on repeating what we have covered at this point here. Keep on repeating what we've covered. So you are ensuring that you have a good visual identity. You are ensuring that your content voice is there. You have a community. You are ensuring that you are consistent by ensuring that your positioning is figured out well. So you keep on repeating all of this action. That's what the growth action is primarily about. Now let's move to the next step. Now I think this should be the last thing we're doing. Now build your brand identity statement. Building your brand identity statement. For you to effectively build your brand for you to be able to build your brand identity statement, this is a framework you can use. So it is a single sentence that captures who a person serves. So who you are serving, that is what your brand identity statement captures. It captures what you help them achieve. It captures, how you do it differently. And it captures why they should believe in you. So when it is well written, your target audience will be able to effectively connect with you. So this is the framework. It says, I help. Who do you help to achieve? What do you help them to achieve? Through, you specify what you help them to achieve through what? Because you believe, then you craft out your values. So I help who to achieve what? Through your unique approach, because you believe, or because I believe your value. So this is another example. This is an example here. I help first generation entrepreneurs build credible online brands through storytelling and strategy, because I believe every underdog deserves to be seen. Underdog simply means people that are not really privileged, so to say. So do you see how this brand identity statement was crafted? So the who is simply the specific person you serve. The specific niche or the specific people you serve. Then achieve what? This is the results you help them to get. So for this particular brand statement, the achieve what stands here: build credible brands. Then the unique approach this person used is what? The storytelling. Do you see it? Storytelling and strategy. So this unique approach is what makes this person different from everyone else that does storytelling. Then the final point is your values. So this person's value is that the person believes that every underdog deserves to be seen. The values is basically the person's why. Do you see? What I'm just trying to say is that because of this messaging you have crafted, you know who you are targeting to sell your products or to sell your services to. That's the logic behind that. Now, this brand identity statement that we have crafted, I will advise that because you do this now, you can take it to your profile on social media, put it out there. Our goal at the Digital Business Growth Series is that we are able to find our customers using or leveraging digital space or leveraging social media. That's one of the goals. Right? That's one of the goals. That through your contents, through the information you share online, people are able to see you and connect with you using social media platforms. And if you are using social media platforms and you are not consistent with your messaging, people will be confused about what you are doing exactly. So that's why every content you post about has to be within this brand identity statement that is here. So for me personally, now I cannot go and start talking about health online. Health is not my niche. For some people that follow me on social media, I talk about digital marketing. I talk about what businesses can do to grow online. That's what I talk about. I talk about personal development online. I talk about leadership online. That's my niche. And someone will now be like, oh, what about other people that talk about the same thing I talk about? What separates me from them is my story. My story is different. And there are millions of people that will connect with my story. It's coming to my mind again. Something coming to my mind again is this. When you are talking about your products on social media, right? Find a way of telling a story. Find a way to connect a story about your past experience in that thing you are doing now, because that story will help people to emotionally connect with you. Now, let's move to the next thing. What can you remember, or what should you remember from today's session? Is this: your personal identity is your brand foundation. You can't separate the two. You can try to build a brand without knowing yourself, but it will always feel hollow. You won't connect with it, and it will never be consistent. The most powerful brands in the world, whether the personal brands or even corporate brands, they have a sense of who they are. They have a sense of who they are at their core. So the step 2 is that clarity. What should you remember today? Clarity on your value gives you a consistent and magnetic brand voice. And this is because when you know what you stand for, you always know what to say. You are never confused about what to say because you are clear about what your values are. And number 3, or the third point that you should remember today, is that your story is your competitive advantage. Nobody else has lived your life. Nobody else. All of us have different experience. All of us have different stories. So because your story or my story is different from another person that is offering digital marketing service, I can use my story as an advantage. The fourth point is that authenticity online doesn't mean oversharing. It means being recognizable. So you have to be recognizable online. It's about being consistent. It's about you showing up so that people can be able to get value from your content because of your authenticity. Then fifthly, consistency across platforms compound into trust over time. So when you are consistent on various social media platforms, you gradually build trust. I think that's how this thing works. When people keep seeing what you are releasing over time, see, they can make a decision not to like the post. They can make a decision not to comment or share your post. But because they have seen the post, it has in one way or the other stayed in their brain. So the compounding effect of this consistency is what turns the people that are following you into clients, whether they are liking your post or not. So gradually, because they are seeing this content, it is entering their mind. When they wake up in the morning, they are seeing your post. When they sleep and they wake up in the next evening, they are seeing your post. Something within them tells them that you are a reliable person. But they don't know when eventually they will now say, wow, okay, Amarachuku, what do you do? I really want to buy your product because I've been seeing you sharing valuable things online. Are we together? So what do we do, or what should you do before the next session? I want you to write your personal brand identity statements. You list your top 5 personal core values. Go on to audit your social media profiles. Do they reflect you? And then go on to share one piece of personal story this week. You can share the personal story on your social media platform. Share it this week. In conclusion, if you stay to the end of the session, you now know how your personal identity and values shape a powerful business brand online as a result of what has been shared in today's session.